Hello, this is the video for Chapter 2, Lesson 8. Today's focus is rewriting a literal equation, but solving for a different variable than what's asked for. So there's going to be very little number solving today. It's more like a puzzle where you're moving things around and reshifting things so that you're writing the equation in a different way, solving for a different variable. Let's look at this first example. It says solve the equation for m. So if you can see that m is kind of embedded into the equation here, we actually want to solve so that it is m equals by itself and then everything else on the other side. That's what we're trying to do. So we've got to work backwards. Basically, we're going to remove everything and undo everything so that it goes to the other side and ends by itself on one side of your equal sign. So looking at this, if I want to get rid of this minus 5n, I can plus 5n. That goes away. And I'm going to add this over here. So now I have 4 plus 5n equals 2 times m. Well, to get m by itself, I just have to divide by 2 so that this is gone. And when I divide by 2, I can either leave my equation as 4 plus 5n over 2 equals m, and I could be done. Or you can think through this as another way where the 2, sorry, I can separate this out. Okay, I might just have to rewrite it. Where this 4 plus 5n, and you're dividing by 2m, dividing by 2, where the 2 goes into every single term here. And so 4 and 2 simplify to become 2. And then it's plus 5 over 2n equals m. So I would say this is a more simplified version of this equation, though they are very similar. This actually simplifies the 4 as well, down 4 divided by 2, making it 2 instead of just 4 plus 5n over 2 equals m. If we were to use this equation now, and I want to solve for m when n is negative 2, 0, and 2, I basically have 3 equations, 3 substitutes of numbers I can plug into. And so I'm going to use this equation for step B here. So I have option 1 where it's 2 plus 5 over 2 times negative 2 as my first equation. Then I have 2 plus 5 over 2 times 0, using this 0 here, as my second equation. And then 2 plus 5 over 2 times positive 2 as my third equation. And when I multiply 2 times positive, or 2 times negative 2 is negative 1. So basically I have 2 plus negative 5, which gives me negative 3 equals m as one of my options. And then my second one, 5 over 2 times 0 is just 0. So my second option is 2 equals m, because 2 plus 0 is just 2. Then my third option is 2 plus, these cancel out, 2 plus 5, which gives me 7 equals m. So those are my 3 answers for these different substitutes for n. Okay, let's keep working where I'm solving for a specific variable. Here it says, what equation do you get when you solve the following equation for x? So I'm going to solve for x, and I'm going to highlight x here just so we can kind of remember that's what I want by itself. So I got to get rid of everything else. I'm going to undo the problem, subtracting r on both sides. So I can write this as negative t minus r equals p times x. To get x by itself, I have to divide by p. So you're thinking through what is the opposite operation in order to get that variable by itself. And when I bring this over, I have negative t minus r divided by p equals x. Going down, solve the area of the triangle formula for height. So I am trying to get h by itself. I'm going to highlight that so we can remember that's what we want by itself. And I'm going to undo the problem. Now, everything that's going on here is being multiplied. So the opposite is to divide. Now, the opposite of multiplying by 1/2 is to multiply by the opposite, by the reciprocal, right? So that means I'm going to multiply by 2/1 or 2 on both sides, which ends up giving me 2 times a equals b times h. To get h by itself, I'm going to divide by b. And then in the end, I will get the equation 2 times a over b equals the height. That is my final equation. To find the, now to use this equation to solve, let's read it. What is the height of a triangle that has an area of 24 square inches and a base with a length of 8 inches? So we basically have all the information we need in on one side of my equal sign. 2 times 24 divided by 8 equals the height. Plug it all in, and the height is 8 inches. Or it's not 8 inches, 6 inches. 6 inches equals the height. Okay, problem 4, rewriting a formula. Pacific gray whales migrate annually from the waters near Alaska to the waters near Baja California, Mexico, and back. The whales travel a distance of 5,000 miles each way at an average rate of 91 miles per day. How many days does it take the whales to migrate one way? So I'm actually going to just give you this equation that distance equals a rate times time. This is the original equation that we're going to use. I don't think if you didn't have the original equation, you might just come up with the new equation that solves for time without even having to like convert it or change it. But this time we are going to actually find, well, it's asking how many days. So that's the time, right? We want to get time by itself. So in order to get time by itself, we're going to divide by the rate. The distance divided by the rate equals the time. And so I'm going to plug in all that information in. The distance right now is 5,000 miles. The rate is 91 miles a day. So I'm going to actually put these units here. The distance is that much, that many miles, 5,000 miles, and it's 91 miles a day. That's going to equal out the time that it takes the whales to migrate. Once I divide, the time ends up equaling 55 days. It takes about 55 days for these whales to migrate that distance. Solve the formula for H. I'm going to highlight H just to remind myself that's what I want by itself. And I'm going to undo everything. Well, everything that's going on here is being multiplied. So what if I just divide it all? Divide by pi r squared. Divide on both sides. Pi r squared. Therefore, V divided by pi r squared equals the height. And that's it. Now let's use this to find a final answer. What is the height of a container if the volume is 56.52 cubic inches and the radius is 1.5 inches? Round to the 10th. The volume is 56.52. Divide by pi, which is actually a number, right? 3.14 times 1.5 squared. If I just plug this all in, my final answer, H equals 8 inches rounded. Okay. Now down here, all we're doing is reformulating our equation so that what they're asking us to find is by itself. So in A, we want V by itself. In B, I want G by itself. In C, solve for T, so I want T by itself. On D, I want A by itself. Okay. Let's go up and work these out. Maybe I'll change colors here. So to undo the problem, I'm going to subtract v on both sides. U minus v equals vw. To get v by itself, I have to divide by w. And my final equation is that u minus v over w equals v. That's it. Over here, I want g by itself. I'm going to add 9h to both sides. Now I have fg equals 10j plus 9h. Divide by f on both sides so that I get g by itself. And remember, when you're dividing, if there's a bunch of things on the side, you can't just divide by one of those terms. You've got to divide by everything. So I'm going to try to write this neatly. 10j plus 9h all divided by f equals g. C, I need to get t by itself, so I'm going to subtract v on both sides. R minus v equals 2/3 t. What is the opposite of 2/3 times t? It's to divide 2/3, or we can multiply the reciprocal. When I divide by 3/2 on both sides, on this side, 3/2 goes away. Now be careful here because 3/2 is not just multiplying r, it's multiplying everything. So I've got to put that in parentheses. 3/2 times r minus v equals c. Last one. I want a by itself, so let me get rid of this 11 first by multiplying on both sides. Now I have 10ac minus x equals negative 33. I'm going to add x on both sides before I start dividing things. 10 times a times c equals negative 11, negative 33 plus x divided by 10 and c. That way a is by itself. So dividing by 10c on both sides. Now I have a equals negative 33 plus x over 10c. There you go. That's the final answer. Ooh, there it is. All right, that's all I have for you today. Bye.